The elevator doors slid open with a whisper, and the city fell away beneath my feet. I stood there, between the sterile hum of the hallway lights and the heavy silence that only places built on betrayal carry. My penthouse, my name still engraved on the brass plate beside the door. But their laughter was already inside. A man's low chuckle, her voice, soft, familiar, venom wrapped in silk. I didn't knock. The key slid in effortlessly, as if the universe itself refused to acknowledge I'd been replaced. Inside they stood, draped in comfort that wasn't theirs. My glass, my whiskey, my view. He had his arm around her waist like he'd earned it. She tilted her head toward him, the way she used to tilt it toward me when she lied. When they saw me, the air fractured. "Who let him in?" she snapped, tone sharp with performative shock. Then, louder, "He's like mold, keeps coming back." Her husband laughed, brittle and nervous. I didn't answer. I didn't need to, because the security guard who stepped out of the elevator wasn't looking at me. He was looking at them. And he said quietly, "Sir, these two need to leave." 2 years. That's how long it had been since I'd gifted her the penthouse. A clean divorce on paper, but nothing about her was ever clean. She'd called it a fresh start. She never mentioned she was moving him in, the man who used to call me brother. I learned about it through a photo, a social post I wasn't meant to see, a blurred reflection in the glass behind her champagne smile, his hand on her hip. The caption said, "Home is where the heart learns to heal." I remember staring at that line, letting it sink like poison through my ribs. They thought they were settled. They thought I'd moved on too. And I had. Just not the way they assumed. I had moved on to patience, to silence, to the slow art of reclamation. When my lawyer called a few months ago, his tone was strange, cautious. He said the paperwork transfer had never finalized, that the penthouse, legally, was still mine. She'd forged a signature on one document, a small, desperate act to secure her place above the world. She'd always been good at illusions, but this one was made of paper, and paper burns easily. I didn't confront her then. I let the days bleed quietly into each other, watching from a distance. Her new husband was everything I once pretended to be. Charming, decisive, publicly kind. But I saw it, the cracks. The way he looked at her when he thought no one was watching. The irritation under his practiced smiles. Their love was a performance, held together by applause. I hired someone discreet, no confrontation, just collection. Phone records, photos, transactions. She was drowning slowly, credit cards maxed, debts mounting. He wasn't helping her, he was using her. He was waiting for her to crumble so he could move on to the next woman naive enough to mistake his pity for devotion. Every night, I imagined the walls of my penthouse echoing with their conversations. The same walls where she once whispered, "You make me feel safe." Now she was whispering that to him, in my bed, under my name, in a space that was never hers to keep. So I waited. I let the silence ripen. Because revenge, if done right, doesn't need anger. It just needs timing. The lawyer called again. The legal audit was complete. Her forged signature authenticated. The property ownership never transferred. I asked him one question. "Can I go home?" He said, "It's your address, sir." That night, I walked into my penthouse with the calm of a man returning to the scene of a crime he didn't commit. She froze when she saw me. The glass slipped from her hand and shattered across the marble floor. Her husband straightened up, uncertain whether to confront or retreat. He looked to her for instruction, like a well-trained pet. I said nothing, just handed her the legal envelope. Her hands trembled as she read. Her face lost all color by the second page. He snatched it from her. His jaw tightened. "You lied to me?" Her voice cracked. I thought it was done. I turned toward the window, the city reflected in glass like 1,000 watching eyes. She said my name, softly now, almost pleading. I didn't respond. Security knocked. I'd called them before arriving. 2 men in black suits entered quietly, professional, detached. "Sir," one of them said, "would you like us to escort the guests out?" I nodded once. Her husband erupted first. "You can't this is our home." The guard held up the document. "Not anymore, sir." She turned toward me, desperation bleeding through her calm. "You're not really doing this. You can't just throw me out." My voice came out low, even. "You did that yourself. 2 years ago." The guards waited for my signal. I gave it. They guided them toward the door as she began to protest. Her husband cursed under his breath. I stayed where I was, hands in my pockets, heartbeat steady. When the door shut behind them, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt reclaimed. I poured a drink, the same whiskey she'd used to toast her betrayal. The city lights stretched out like veins across the night. I stood there, breathing in the stillness. Her perfume lingered faintly, a ghost of a memory that no longer had power. People think revenge is loud. They imagine shouting, breaking things, chaos. But real revenge is quiet. It's walking back into what was yours and realizing you no longer care. I didn't smile. I didn't sigh. I just let the ice melt in the glass and said to the empty room, "They were right. I do keep coming back." A pause, but not for them. I raised the glass toward the skyline, cold, calm, victorious. And for the first time in years, I felt home.